Welcome back, and thanks for stopping on in for today's NBA pick video play for October 23rd, 2018. In this one, talking about this Western Conference matchup between Sacramento Kings and the Denver Nuggets. Going to give our lean on where we see the better value on the over-under. The total number, relatively high here, about 227.5 points. We've seen a lot of elevated over numbers, at least in the early portion of the 2018-19 regular season. It seems like a lot of teams have adapted a more up-tempo approach to what they're doing, more analytics-driven ball, which has resulted in some higher scoring games. We'll see if this trend continues throughout the early portion and into later on in the year when maybe teams are a little bit more fatigued and don't want to run quite as much as what we've seen at this point. So we have the Sacramento Kings right now, 1-2 overall. They are coming off a nice result in their last outing, upsetting the Oklahoma City Thunder on the road by a final of 131-120. And this is going to be the third straight road game that the Kings are going into, which is always a concern. But the fact that we're so early on in the year, fatigue probably isn't setting in for a team like the Kings right now, as you might be a little bit more worried if this was the third straight road game later on in the campaign. So they open things up with back-to-back losses, a competitive defeat at home to the Jazz, and then a 20-point loss to the Pelicans. Defensively, the Kings have had a tough time. They're 30th in the NBA in points allowed. And then in terms of their scoring numbers, they actually rank second in scoring average. We expect these numbers to considerably reduce for a team like Sacramento throughout the course of the regular season. We just don't see enough offensive talent with this team to sustain these types of numbers, and maybe part of it has just been the kind of opponents that the Kings have been going against. For instance, the Pelicans, an extremely up-tempo squad to face, and that one was 129-149 for a defeat for Sacramento, and that one game alone can kind of alter the numbers quite significantly against what you would expect from the Kings, especially with such a small sample size in the number of games that they've faced. So today, on the road against the Denver Nuggets, who slowed things down quite a bit in their last outing, and that was very effective for Denver as they were able to take down the Golden State Warriors by a final of 100-98. Denver getting off to a great 3-0 start. They also have wins over the Suns and the Clippers within the West. And the Nuggets, in terms of their numbers, they've been a much more defensive-oriented group. They're first in the NBA in points allowed, giving up right around 95 points per game, and then they're 22nd in scoring average. They also rank very well in terms of their rebounding numbers at third in the NBA. So it could be a situation where whoever dictates the pace of play is probably going to have an effect on this total number. You have Denver, who's been a top-ranked defensive team, first in the NBA in points allowed, compared to the Kings, who rank 30th in points allowed. So a very stark contrast in styles. We feel like Denver, behind their home court advantage, especially with the Kings going into their third straight road game, and perhaps fatigue somewhat playing a factor, we feel like the Nuggets, the better overall team, is going to be able to dictate their type of contest. And as a result, we could see this one being a little bit more lower scoring than what we've been seeing from the Kings through the first week of action. So with that being the case, going to go ahead, side with the home team here, and playing their style of contest as we get to the under 227.5 points. Again, going to be siding with the under here as the better value play. If you agree, give the video a thumbs up. Disagree, give it a thumbs down. You can check out all of our NBA picks over at stumpthespread.com. Linked down in the video description. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we hope to see you guys back here for tomorrow's video.